And welcome to another Round the Road Rotary with me, your host, J.P. Warren. And with us today we have Ethan Etzel, the CEO of Royal Composites. Sorry about that little the bang before. We're still trying to work on getting situated here in the podcast room. This is kind of a last-minute podcast we decided to do, isn't it?
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, we were just kind of texting yesterday. I said, man, what are you doing tomorrow? Why don't you come on up? Get a pod. I'd love to have you on.
Might as well. First for me, so it'll be fun.
This is your first podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Every time I do one, I feel it's like my first. I don't know why. So, anyway, man, first off, thanks for coming in, dude. I appreciate that. And second off, let's kind of get this kicked off. Give us a little, I know we got some interesting, we got an interesting podcast lined up today. I think we got some topics that we normally don't cover, and I think I'm excited about this. But before we get into that, let's get into you. Give us your background, kind of where you're at, and kind of how you got to be where you're at today.
Well, what a long story. Are we starting from childhood, or are we starting from where it counts?
Start where you feel comfortable.
So in the womb, I was no. So I guess it started. I was born in Louisiana, moved around a lot, moved to Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, then up to New Jersey, Mountain Lakes, New Jersey.
Why are you moving around so much?
Oh, my dad just had this career that he just loved to follow. You know.
Was it oil and gas?
Absolutely not. Absolutely first generation oil and gas, right?
Yeah, me too. All right.
There you go.
Welcome.
The best kind.
Welcome. So you moved around a lot.
Yep, moved around a lot. Ended up in Louisiana. Let's see, education. Education was an interesting deal. Ended up graduating mechanical engineering, but it took me 6 years because I was pre-med for 2 years and realized I didn't want to do that. So
Why did you make the decision from pre-med to mechanical engineering?
Good question. Probably not the same for everybody who does this, but engineering is applied learning. So if I learn something, it comes back to haunt you 2 years later.
Okay.
And you have to remember it. To me, in the medical field, besides physiology and anatomy.
Physiology, which deals with physiophysics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So, besides that, you just pretty much memorize and forget, right?
Okay.
So, all your plant biologies and all that stuff, it's just like getting old to me. So, after 2 years, went to bad grades, I just sort of flipped the script, went to business for a year and made straight A's in business, and I was like, that's not right, I'm not that smart. So,
the system's wrong. The system's wrong. Yeah.
Ended up in mechanical engineering, so dosed it out. First 2 years were easy. Junior year, like I said, came back to haunt me because it's applied learning, but I liked it, you know, so I had to go relearn a few things. Ended up graduating mechanical in 2007.
And so where did you go to college?
UL, ended up in UL.
Okay.
I went to play NAIA soccer, came back, ended up playing club soccer at UL and getting a degree in mechanical.
Okay. All right.
Raging Cajuns, man.
All right.
So 2007 was an unbelievable year for the oil and gas industry. Raging Cajun sort of breed it into you. You know, you go to career day and you sit there and there's 40 companies there, and it's not Yale or Harvard, but you have a lot of companies sort of scouting you, especially in a good economical time, right before the little recession we had in '89. So I had six options. I went to a couple different interviews, and weeded it down to a military weaponry company, URS, out of Baton Rouge, and Smith's Schlumberger and my SWATCO mix. So I started in my SWATCO doing internships in solid control offshore.
So wait, that's kind of how you ended up in the oil field.
Yep.
It was just one of those things. It's like either I can go this option, make military weapons, or I can do this Smith Schlumberger and my SWATCO. I mean, is that kind of?
Oh, I mean, okay. In my mind, I was saying nothing is the oil field at that time. I didn't know much about it, and I was like, oh, everyone goes to the oil field, I want to do something different. So URS was sort of my pick, and then I found the monetary values were quite different.
Right. Right.
In every aspect, and the lifestyles, you know. I had ADD growing up, so it's hard to sit behind a desk 24/7 and do design work.
We do the same thing day in, day out. You like kind of getting moving and interacting. Okay. All right.
The oil field was for me. I love the oil field, and from the get-go, as soon as I signed on with my SWATCO, I liked doing that stuff. I ended up going to Smith out of college. The VP over at Smith got us in a group, 12 people, 12 engineers all over the U.S., accelerated program, and we started moving forward. I worked in Lafayette, then worked in Houston, did 3 months of classes. He was ex-Schlumberger guy, so it's pretty much Schlumberger bring up.
And they had a pretty good training program, if I remember.
Great training program.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Just a lot of time in the field. Worked in Wyoming for a while. Worked in Oklahoma City for a while. A little south more. Tornadoes, crazy. I thought it was a myth until I lived there and it wiped out the gym like a road down to my house.
Southmore?
Yeah.
Where's that?
Oh, it's in between OU
Okay.
and Oklahoma City. So
Okay, right down Tornado Valley. Alley,
Yeah,
as we call it Valley. Certain parts of Houston, but yeah, Tornado Valley. Okay, go on.
It's not fake, it's real. So, went to Midland, Odessa, did some work out there for a while, ultimately came back to Lafayette for a year, worked in the offshore division. I was doing drilling completions, ended up turning towards the completion side of things. Found myself in unconventionals, 2009, all unconventionals, and
Well, how did you find yourself in the completion side versus drilling? What kind of
my decision. You know, it was a great program Smith had, and you sort of learned both ends of it, sort of selected where you wanted to go, and you know you had mentors
Yeah.
in each drilling and completions, and it was a good program, you know. So I like completions a little more,
Okay.
you know. And going through 2008, 2009. In completions, you could always turn to the recompletion stuff, to the fields that, you know, water flood, you know, gas lift, all that. You know, you could turn to
Right.
those mature fields, and you still have a good bit of work, and you have the knowledge to work in those fields when everything, this volatile industry just flips script. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
So, let's see. It was Smith International for a while. Loved it. Was growing. Ended up in Houston, product line champion, then switched over to product line manager for all the unconventional completion tools around the globe.
Okay.
With Smith, and then Schlumberger ended up buying us out. It was good at first. Never got really bad.
It just wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same.
Right.
It wasn't the
Right.
same. Nothing in Schlumberger.
Not good or bad, just a little bit different. Not the same. Not the same culture. I get it.
Not the same culture, but big companies like to switch around a lot.
Okay.
I felt like I was becoming an expert in completions and unconventional. I didn't want to go anywhere else. They wanted me to take me in offshore drilling. They groomed put me on an international mobile program and all this other stuff, which is great, and it's great.
Did you enjoy it?
I didn't. I actually didn't go. I turned it down, and about a half year later, they tried to force me back into it, and I ended up ultimately switching jobs to a company called Peak Completions.
Okay.
So
you were that scared of taking that chance. You decided just
it was
screw my career.
Australia. It was Australia at first, which I went to Australia with them. So basically, when Schlumberger bought Smith, I ended up integrating all the Smith tools into Schlumberger. So I travel all over the world, giving presentations and sort of.
That's a pretty cool experience, though.
Fun, very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fun. I wish they give you a little more time for those trips, but sometimes they came up a couple days before and let's get that visa real quick.
You
No,
moved,
it was
yeah.
a great experience. Moved to Peak Completions. I was an engineer who, all the sales guys could laugh at this, engineer who always pointed at young, pointed the finger at sales guys. We perfected this. These sales guys just can't sell it. They have issues.
Well, as a salesman, let me just explain how much we truly appreciate that type of critique and that type of motivation, because nothing in the world gets us motivated with another department saying, you're not doing your job.
Young kid.
I could do it better. Right.
Young kid.
Right. Right.
I had my thoughts. Everyone has their thoughts, like Mike Tyson said. You know, everyone has a plan until they punch in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have my plans, my thoughts. Things change, and you grow, and maturity sort of takes over, and you realize things aren't the same. And sometimes you switch jobs to the sales role, thinking you could kill it, and you realize there's a lot of other variables involved. So I jumped into the sales role. Thank God I did. Right. I learned a ton about the industry, a ton about sales. I realized it wasn't as easy as I projected.
Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it.
Okay.
I did enjoy it. I enjoyed Peak as a company. I did. Peak had at that time, they were working really well in Midland. They were growing the Houston office and growing other areas. Spent 2 years there in sales. Did some good. Met some great people. CEO of Peak's a great guy, Kerry Hadley. If you ever get the chance to get him on here, it'd be great.
Love to have him on.
Yeah, he's a ref, UFC ref.
Oh, okay.
So double life. Anyways, left, you know, a guy worked with the Smith Taylor Hennigan called me up one day. He's like, "Got this opportunity at Blackhawk Specialty Tools. You know, we just bought this company. It's called Trinity. A guy named Harvey Sharp owned it. Good company. We need someone who can bring these tools to all the districts, all the Blackhawk districts domestically." So
was that in a sales role?
that was actually a product line manager role.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it was back to product line management. I like sales. It was good, but I like product line management too, which is ultimately what Smith groomed me for.
Okay.
So I ended up sort of blowing that off, and then he called me again a month later and got me in front of the Billy Brown and Dean Robichaux, a couple of high up guys, owners of the company, and sat down with them, and they sort of panned it out really gravy. They weren't lying. Blackhawk was a great company.
And so that's one of those things you're like, all right, well,
Yeah.
I can't turn this down. the way you guys presented this, I can't turn this down.
It was a great. I mean, it was a great deal. I couldn't turn it down. So I unfortunately Peak. Nothing against Peak. Love Peak. Great
Right.
company.
And so what year was this? Did you go over to Blackhawk?
What was that? 14?
Okay.
13? 13 or 14?
I don't know. I'm asking you literally.
13.
Okay.
Let's say
All right.
13. Might have been 17. Who knows? No.
Well, shit, the way things have been going on these days, I know, like, this month feels the exact same way April has felt. So, I mean, and we're recording this middle of September in 2020, and it's just like, every day is the same.
Let's
Sorry.
move forward to these times in a bit. We have a lot of.
We got a lot to go over.
A lot of hating to go around.
Let's keep going. We got the grinding gears part a little bit. Let's keep going on about you. So 2013, 2014, going over to the product line again, product line manager for
Yep.
Blackhawk.
Yep.
Okay.
Brought the tools out. We were bringing setting tools, and they had a frag plug and a few other things that we were bringing to the districts to a company who traditionally was an offshore cement head company, you know, centralizers and casing accessories. Macondo hit, and they were forced to bring everything on land, which they did beautifully. They did very well. Great company, great people. I've said that already, but still keep in touch with several of them and work with some other people who have gone to other companies from Blackhawk. So I brought everything around, and then it was great, you know, great owner, I was working for a great manager. It was a pretty good gig. End of 14 came around, right? End of 14 came around, and things got a little sluggish. We still moved forward. We still did pretty well with the rentals. Still were getting cement head work out. Still doing casing accessories. You know, your margins on casing accessories, especially when you're third party, and get extremely thin.
Right.
So you have two middlemen. It gets thin. You can work it, but sometimes with some commodities, it gets pretty tough. So I handled the P&L and the books for North America Land. Worked under a guy named Mike Torres, who owned, I think he was part of North Crescent Drilling beforehand.
Okay.
Great guy. He was retirement age. A lot of those Blackhawk guys higher up were getting ready to retire, so they were great mentors, but they were checking out. You know, they were checking out. So got to talking. We ended up selling out the Frank's casing, which is ironic. I played high school tennis with Aaron Mosing, who's one of the, you know, he's family of the Franks.
Oh, okay.
Basically,
Okay.
you
All
know,
right.
His dad's on board. You know,
And you're back in that circle here. You're back in that circle about
Yeah.
5 years, 6 years later. Yeah.
which would have been great. You know, I like those guys. I like Lafayette, and Cajun people are great. I'm not Cajun myself, but oh my goodness, they're awesome people.
You ain't got to say that here. We know Cajun people are great. We love everyone listening right now.
Yeah, yeah, you have to say that, don't you?
Don't have to. I choose to say it. So go on.
So unfortunately, my core competencies didn't really fit in with Frank's in the casing on unconventional land, and at that point in time, I knew I really had to start looking for one thing on unconventional land. So I met a guy named Zach Silva, who was going through the same thing at Baker. He was a recomposite design engineer for Baker, and he was going through the same thing with Halliburton.
Okay.
At the time, Halliburton was buying out Baker. We got to chatting, and
So wait, tell me. So how did y'all find each other and just get to start chatting? And both y'all were said the same thing.
well, through a coworker at the time, Tony Rufo.
Okay.
So he was the design engineer in Blackhawk. He's like, hey, we need to get together with this guy Zach. You know, maybe down the line we could all do something. You know, everyone has the pipe dreams of, oh, we need to get better and like all that.
Oh man, we'll do better than these guys. Yeah, who have crushed it previously. Yeah.
Exactly. So I met Zach. We started the company. Soon after, got Tony to pull away and come on board. And
And what company is this?
Roll Composites.
Okay.
There you go. That's where I am right now.
Kind of want you to bring that up
Yes,
currently
yes.
in this podcast.
That was in mid-17.
Okay.
We broke free. We had our first job in December of 17, and everything was great. Worked out perfectly. The catch was we had a tank of a plug, and this thing was good. We ran into Deep Eagle for it. It was good. You know, it might be getting too detailed, too engineering, but it was good for 12.5 at 360, 375 degrees. AKA, it costs way too much for a market that is not good, and price is number one.
Well, you're mid 2017. Prices were horrible back then.
Yep. They
For
were.
the service side.
Mhm.
It depends what side of the spectrum you're looking at.
Yeah, but there's a method to the madness. So we created a chassis for our original product that we knew worked in extreme conditions. So when you're a small company, you have to have a product that's reliable, more reliable than any other. Because 1 or 2, 3 mess ups for us could end the company.
It costs you, right?
Not just the cost, it's in the company, in the idea, in all the money and all the dreams we put into it, right? So number one was we need to get a product out there that's perfect. It's perfect as can be. You know, nothing's perfect, but we got it out there. We ended up, Tony came on board, and early 19, after, I don't want to get too much detail on all the boring engineering stuff, but we, you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We had a product that worked in the beginning of 2019. We started with a mid-sized company, started running in early 2019, and haven't stopped with that company through right now. So we have a product that I like to say that's second to none. And what we've done is we've now done R&D. We have a testing facility, you know, in-house bunker. We test in-house. We got a, you know, we've developed and moved our company to where we can do batch testing. We could handle a lot of the stuff with third party initially. It costs more money.
So it truly is the product that sells the company.
Bingo.
It sounds like.
I told you I'm not a good salesman, man.
I disagree because that's what good salespeople say. Oh man, I'm not good at sales. So you pretty much had a product right now that once a company, as you say, you don't lose business because once they use the product, it's a product they want to continue to use.
Bingo. I mean, you see it all the time. You have companies that like churn through the best salesmen in the
Right.
industry, right? We can't do that.
Oh, absolutely.
One,
See
we're
that
not
all the
PE
time.
backed. We're bootstrapping. We got to watch where we spend our money. We didn't have that option. We wouldn't have wanted to go gone that way either. Some people make it that way.
Right.
Some people just slap stuff out there and they'll and wholesale. If you're keeping inventory and you buy 1,000 whatever units of something, and you're holding inventory, paying taxes on it, and you have an issue and you can't pay for 1,000, it's your fault on design. I mean, some people with PE back and stuff can handle that. We grew very conservatively to where we didn't injure ourselves that much.
Okay.
Right? So it might have taken a little more time. Took a little more time, but you know what? We have very high ownership in our company right now. It's, you know, we've been positive every month so far, and it's starting. I mean, we're running. If you don't know, it's at Royal Composites, mainly focused on frag plugs. We do a few other things, but we're selling over 1,000 plugs in February, March before it crashed. And for us, I mean, that's plenty. Our overhead's low. We're a small company, pull 180s real fast, you know. So we're made for the volatility of the oil field. It's
Well, if you operate that lean and that have low overhead, I mean, you can make adjustments and pivot quicker than some companies can.
Bingo. Last year we had hit a bottleneck, actually, into 2019, where we always hit bottlenecks in wholesale, but this bottleneck was we were growing faster than we could keep up.
Okay.
So we were about to pick up. We were at 4 frac fleets. We were about to pick up 6 to another company, and we couldn't keep up. And that's the hardest call in the world. You know, as a sales guy, right? You call a company, you're like, we can't do it.
We want to do it, but we just can't do it right now. Yeah.
You know, it's painful.
That
right?
sucks. That
So
sucks.
we had to sort of, towards the end of last year, we had to bring it in, have a big discussion. We have a board of advisors, which are great. You know, we give a little money, little of the percentage of the company away to advisors, board of
Okay.
advisors. So we got a guy from MIT, genius. You know, we have another guy who runs $100 million engineering firm. We got another another guy who has a manufacturing. Like we have,
Really smart people from different backgrounds.
yeah, because I'm not smart and I need the help, man.
I'm not either. I'm not either.
So yeah,
My wife tells me this every day.
Yours too?
Yes.
Jeez, man, I'll tell you, we won't. Let's not talk about wives. She'll kill me.
Well, I'm very happily married and I'm in love.
Me too.
All right, let's keep going.
So I lost track, man. You got me on the Wi-Fi.
No. We're talking about this. So 2019, you got the board of advisory. They're coming together.
Yep.
Okay.
So gave away a little bit. We had to do some things, purchase some molds, do a few things to make our product superior, and not just that, we had to hold inventory.
Okay.
So if you're in the wholesale market, you know the biggest pain is growing your inventory so you don't miss work. Because we were trying to do it, you know, couple hundred plugs on the shelf, and just wasn't cutting it.
Okay.
We were flying out to our assembly facility, and like literally renting a $60 car, a $60 SUV, and bringing 20 plugs out to fill a pad. You know, it got to that point. So it's like, okay, we have to restructure.
You're kind of piecemeal and
Yes.
making sure it's working, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you believe in God, but blessing in disguise, because we were also at the same time contemplating opening districts, and this is to the end of 2019.
Oh, okay.
Opening districts, hiring people, and this bottleneck prevented us from doing that, which I say blessing in disguise because you know where we are right now.
It's not
You know, it would have been layoffs. We would have been tied to a facility for several years. So it's
It's interesting. It's interesting how things work like that, though.
Yep, it is. It's very interesting. So we did that. Got a bunch of good advisors. We meet quarterly. They, you know, me, Tony, Zach sort of tell them what we think's best. They say, hey, maybe you think about this, think about that. Give some words of wisdom, and we move forward. And you know, it's been an excellent team so far. We've done well. You know.
So tell me, kind of get into this. So what have y'all? How have y'all actually? I guess during these reduced activity, rigs going down to I think they're at 254 today. I mean, how have y'all kind of adapted during these times?
Yeah, so we focus on horizontal. So I think it's 214. It's even lower for us, you know. So it's
Yes, you're right. I have no idea, but sure.
Yeah. So completions are a little bit different, you know, because you have people that like say, let's take on the whole being polarized. You have XTO that drilled, you know, kept 50 rigs or whatever forever. So they have a lot of ducks, right? So we still have to play in the duck game. So the rig count's not really the best way to look at the completion stuff, but it's one of the only that you can actually.
Yeah, I just meant kind of currently this day and age where where activity is reduced. Frac fleets have gone down and all that stuff. So how have y'all kind of adapted in this?
Keeping stress levels low, because we're a small company. We have low amount of overhead, and me, Tony, and Zach, so we sat back and we're like, should we plow forward? You know, we got lucky enough towards the end of last year that we had a bottleneck. I mean,
Okay.
I call that luck. At the time, it was the biggest pain in the rear in the
But
world.
it sounds like it's luck.
Yeah, I call it luck. We'll chalk it up to luck. And we said, hey, this is a unique time. Let's try and take advantage of it. We have not been spending much SG&A, except for on a couple things. So we're kind of an engineer, but we're all engineers. Zach has a PE, excuse me. He keeps it. Me and Tony don't. But in terms of spending SG&A, a lot of people are chasing a lot of work and spending a lot of money in these downturns when you have rig counts, like you just said, cut in 1/4.
Right.
So we sat back and like, okay, we have a good customer, a small customer base that we, you know, take care of, and we have a great product that serves. What's it look like if we don't get any more ground? We said, okay, we're still gonna, you know, flirt with that line. What can we do? Let's stop pushing the sales so hard. And at this time, and later that year, we sort of changed the thought of our company after talking to the board. Let's sell only to service companies.
Okay.
So we sell to service companies. We have several really good clients we work with, and what that does is it limits our SG&A and overhead tremendously. They have the infrastructure for operations. They have infrastructure for sales. They have infrastructure for, I mean, they spend money to do this, but they're not only spending it on our product, they're spending it on several other products. So they, you know, diluted over several months,
sales,
whatever.
logistics, distribution. Yeah. Okay.
Bingo. So let's be conservative once again. Base of our company, let's be conservative, and let's sell to service companies. So they are doing that work on our end, and what we're doing is servicing the product, making unbelievable QA/QC stances, and we believe we have one of the best, if not QA/QC programs out there. So one of us, me, Zach, or Tony, goes through final inspects the plugs ourselves.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, when we get to a lot higher numbers, will we still be? We want to, but I don't know if that's realistic.
I mean, just the fact that the leaders of the company are actually going to the floor and inspecting them individually, personally,
Yep.
every time. I think that says something right there.
I like to think so, man. I appreciate that. But we have, we're now around. It doesn't seem big for a big company, but we're over 5,000 plugs sold. So we've gone through every single one of them, right?
But that's the thing, though. I think everything in the oil field, that's just scope. I mean, any size company, whether it's the volume or the cost of the product, the cost of the service, it all changes. I remember being offshore doing, looking at like a riser inspection for like $3 million. Then I go to work in drill pipe, it's like 11 cents a foot. Who gives a shit? Give it away. I don't care. But it just changes. The scope changes. The volumes change. Yeah.
It does, man. It does, and it works together for a final goal. We're talking about what we're doing these times. So R&D is something we're developing new sizes. R&D, if you're working with manufacturing and vendors, they have time on their hands right now. So it's a tad bit less to do R&D. Because you have to for every different size, you have to reprogram things, you have to change different materials. Composite is a very complex science. There's not engineering programs you can plug numbers into like metal and just get your FEA analyses and all this, and not, once again, if I go to engineering, just slap me.
No, I was going to say the exact same thing you just said about the CA levels. Go on.
So anyways, it's more of a trial and error, in previous known technology that you've worked with, so we know where to go. It's a lot of different materials, and it's basically material science.
Okay.
Material science is the best person to, if you were starting from scratch, to start with. So like geologists for oil and gas.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. So tad bit cheaper, everything is faster through prototyping and your whole engineering. If you do, I'm not going to go to, you have a conceptual, sit there and you look at it, the engineering design, so people don't get lost. Conceptual, you jump in the design phase, you draw it out, SolidWorks, Pro E, whatever. You get with your guys in the field. So Tony and Zach are more of a true R&D engineers. I sit down with them and I tell them, we have a design review, and I tell them, no, can't do this because we're going to the field and this can happen.
Okay.
So we sit down and we work perfectly together. So we go through that analysis, then we go to lab testing, which now we can do in-house. We have our own for everything, so we can do all our lab testing in-house, and it's made things a lot easier. You don't have to schedule time. Once you go through lab testing, you're prototyping, and you get your product that we spoke about. Then you go to lab testing. Once you qualify lab testing, whatever that is, casing per casing range, you move on to field trials, and that's where you release the product.
That's where all the work kind of gets to that final
Yeah.
point, and you're like, okay, well, this is either going to sink or swim.
Yeah, I mean, you get out there, and it's like you're, I don't know if any of y'all ran track before. You stand on the line, waiting for that gun, getting butterflies, your heart's pounding, that first plug's going in, that operator wants to run it at 1,000 feet per minute, you can't tell them not to, and it's just like, it's a fun deal.
That sounds exciting.
It makes
though.
you feel alive.
I mean, all that work that you're putting into, the blood, sweat, and tears at the end of the day, that's kind of like, that's what you're watching. That's game time.
It's fun.
Right
It
there.
is game time. It's fun. It's fun. I mean, for some people it's not. For me, it's fun.
That sounds exciting. So kind of that'd be exciting times though if I was definitely part of that.
Yeah, it is. But that's kind of the cycle that we go through, and when you get past that point, you focus on quality control and the QA/QC of everything. So basically, when you assemble a plug, when you get things packaged and out the door, your processes for making sure every single plug is replicated multiple times and looked over multiple times to make sure everyone's the same.
Because the chances, for failure
They're high if you don't have a good QA/QC program. They're very high.
But that's the thing though, with a small company like that, that's not a gamble that you want to risk.
Can't Can't do
No,
it.
I mean, some larger companies like, yeah, okay, we got, whatever percent failure. It's not a big deal. But like certain companies, a certain size, we don't want any of those. We don't want to have that. We can't gamble with that.
Can't do it, man. Can't do it.
So all right.
You can't send an alcoholic consultant out there, can you?
No, you can't. That's why we don't do that. So wait, we can. So I kind of want to get into. I think this is a good segue into kind of what I kind of want to talk to you the bitches, gripes, complaints that we may have, cuss and discuss. And so let's start this off. What are you? First off, what are you excited about right now in the oil field?
And I'm excited about a lot. I think we first need to talk about the big picture of the oil field.
Okay.
Um,
How are you seeing things?
I try to look at it from a very stand back and, I think you said it's a 30,000 foot view
Right.
for the big picture. And there's no energy source that can really take the place of hydrocarbons, oil, gas, right?
Right.
You know that old phrase, peak oil? It's not even close. I think everyone agrees, it's not even close. A lot of people just say, 2020, peak oil, and they discovered unconventionals, they discovered this. We can retract more from that.
I mean, when did peak oil, was that 76 when they came out or something? I don't know. I may be way wrong right now, but yeah, but it's like, okay, well, let's start talking about something else.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the infrastructure's not there, and the closest thing there is gas, for infrastructure, to put pressure vessels in the ground, for automobiles, do this, do that. I mean, if you use an electrical vehicle, it doesn't matter. You're still using electricity. Where does electricity come from? Over 60, 70% hydrocarbons.
But not a lot of people want to know that.
That's their fault. You got to dig deeper.
Well, I mean, a lot of people think about it. If I could just plug in my car and pat myself in the back, like, oh, I'm helping the world. But it's like, well, that thing you're plugging into, where's that getting its energy from?
Yeah, people sometimes like to complain. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but I mean, it must stem from like a child just complaining to get their way and no one growing out of that stage. I mean, that's a little broad, but
I mean, think about it. You got all these websites now that started to promote people complaining. Or, I mean, look, call it reviews all you want, but I mean, Yelp, Google, all this stuff. Now you got people that are promoting kind of complaining.
Haters.
Haters,
man. It's a platform for hate.
We'll get into the player haters ball a little bit. So you got to get the 30,000 foot view, right? Hydrocarbons.
Yes. 35th. We're gonna go off on a lot of tangents.
Keep going.
So stop me.
Keep going.
All right. Yes. So there's nothing even close. So I mean, where everything stems from, all energy and infrastructure comes from hydrocarbons, and there's no change. I mean, your wind, they built that up big time. Where's it at now? I mean, all these other things. Singular, they might work in small areas, right? But I mean, even speaking domestically, not even going international. Domestically, you're not getting away from hydrocarbons anytime soon. The infrastructure's not there. To build that infrastructure, I mean, look at how much trouble they have building pipelines.
Yeah.
Pipelines compared to the infrastructure to change energy, get out of here, man.
Well, here's the deal. I'm not against, renewable energy. I'm not against, wind, solar. I'm not against that. But at the same time, you got to take a realistic view at it. Like, we're not there with technology. At the same time, if I'm a user of a Tesla or whatever that is, like, you still have to take some responsibility and be like, look, this isn't the leap we're not going to the George Jetson type of future. We still got a long time before that. And I understand, wanting to develop technology and kind of creating it new and all that stuff, but you're right.
Yeah.
If it comes to actually switching our infrastructure or the world's infrastructure, I mean,
it
doesn't make sense.
There's fission, there's nuclear, there's fusion. I mean, yeah, good luck. Please don't try to create fusion energy on it.
But that's the thing, though. When people turn a blind eye to fossil fuels and the oil and gas industry, it's like, oh, it's dying. It's not here anymore. It's like, what are you going to do, charge in that international 747? Like in the hangar to fly it over? I mean, what are we talking about right now? You know what I mean? So just pump the brakes.
Yeah,
I mean,
you need to pump the brakes. You need to get realistic. You need to stop complaining. I mean, dig a little deeper. Before you complain, dig a little deeper. That's all I ask.
Well,
if I could ask anything, dig a little deeper before you complain.
Well, that's the thing.
Think
People
about it,
look
step
at their phones. They take what they see, face value, no research, and that's what they believe and that's what they share. That's what they talk about with their friends. But it's like, okay, well, where'd you get that source? Where'd you get that information of fossil fuels doing this? And like,
Platform for haters. I can't even.
Listen,
okay, we'll get into that in a second.
Finish your holistic 30,000-foot view.
So, I'm not worried about it. I'm 37 years old. Peak oil and gas is gonna, hydrocarbons are gonna outlive my work life.
Right.
I mean, my time frame at all for that. So
Right.
I'm not worried about it at all. I mean, I have a great company, great partners right now. We're doing well, and if something sure, who knows? I don't know what's gonna come of this, but I'll tell you right now, with my expertise in unconventionals, I ain't worried at all.
But that's the thing, though. The oil and gas industry will be different.
Yeah.
It will in some way, whether people start focusing in on technology or people start focusing on like, well, we kind of don't need office space, or it's, we kind of don't need this many people. We don't need a drill and tech, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's going to change. The scenery is going to change, I feel like. There's going to be more focal points on certain things such as technology, maybe using apps or whatever, downhole technology. But it's still going to be here. You're right.
It'll change for now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It has to change because the oil and gas prices are forcing the change.
Right.
Right. Inevitable. With something so volatile as oil and gas, it's inevitable. So there's going to be change right now, but when oil and gas sneaks back up to 60, who cares if it's 5 years from now?
It's just like
PE firms will try and fight you and say it's 5 years. I don't think it's going to be that long.
But that's just kind of what we talked about. That's what we talked about before we started recording. Actually, it's going to be we're going to be at the same problem. How do we find the right people? How do we ramp up? We're going to be in the same cycle, back to back.
Yeah, and that's why I promote people to keep their heads high in the oil field and stick in there. If you have to take another job, that's fine. And if whoever wants to get out of the oil field, great. That's fine.
Right.
There's so many jobs and so many other industries where your skill set, even if you were running a frac fleet, you're a hand.
Potentially even more stable industries.
Yes, way more stable. If that's something you want, if you have 3 kids, 4 kids, and you don't want to do it, don't do it. Take your skill set somewhere else. You've learned a lot more than you think from the oil field.
I agree, and that's kind of something that we discussed on the podcast before. If you are presented with a different industry or a different role, whether in the industry or outside the industry, just if your gut tells you that you'd be all right, take it. Go for it. Get outside your comfort zone a little bit.
Got to.
Yeah.
If you don't get outside your comfort zone, you're stuck.
Yeah.
You're stuck, period. That's that design engineer who never made a design management who's 55 years old. You did that to yourself.
You're a little comfortable.
You get too comfortable. You enjoyed it.
So what? Let's talk about what's making. So you're fine. You got a pretty even keel mentality right now about the oil field. It's gonna change, but it's not going anywhere.
I'm fine, and I'm fine mentally too. There's a lot of people that struggle separating the personal life and their business life, right? I completely separate the two.
Well, how do you do that?
Well, you got to realize what's more important in your life. Your family's more important than your work. I don't care if you're the CEO or Chevron.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You have a life outside of your work.
You're doing that for a reason, and that should be.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. Some people don't realize that, and in negative economies, they get really depressed. It's tough.
Yeah.
So you just got to sort of keep your head high and realize there's more to life than worrying about a downturn. It's all going to come back and you get another job. There's so many options in life. In the USA, there are so many options that if you're a citizen of the U.S., you are one of the luckiest in the world. Because it is the best place to live, by far. I've been a lot of places, and there can be some arguments there, but there's the opportunity. There's none like it.
Opportunities there.
None like it.
So are you feeling that there's a lot of negative people right now in the oil and gas industry?
Punch me in the face, there's a lot of negative people, period. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it stems from not maturing. I hate someone told me the other day that I'm a millennial. I
Why?
fall in the millennial age group.
I kind of feel like that's kind of a blanket insult to anybody. You know what I mean?
So,
I feel like
man.
that's kind of a bullshit blanket insult to anybody.
Maybe because
like,
I was hating on millennials and they're like, "Oh, dude, when's your birthday?" Son of a.
I feel like that's more of a mental state than anything, being a millennial.
Yeah, I think there's a big issue with expectations, and I think a lot of the negativity might stem from a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of things out there that really, a lot of people, nothing on podcast, a lot of podcasts, a lot of books, a lot of things out there that say, this is the way to do it. You should do it this way. You should work a couple hours a week, and you should do this, and life is good. You work from home.
Or man, it's not even that. Or it's like, hey, this happened. You should feel pissed off about this, or you should be angry about this. You don't hear any good news about, hey, this is good news. You should feel happy about this. It's the stuff that we're getting shoved down our throat by, whether it's the news or whether it's Facebook, social media platforms, all that stuff. It's driving a lot of, I feel like it's driving a lot of the negativity.
It is, and I think it stems from multiple things. I think there's negative people, I think there's high expectations. People who hold high expectations of themselves, whether it be a career, whether it be, if they're a triathlete, gaining a goal, whether it be your athlete, or a pro athlete, winning the Super Bowl, whatever. And people get these not unrealistic to some. I mean, maybe to 1% realistic, but unrealistic to the majority of the populace. They get these notions in their head. They have, David Goggins telling them, dude, you could do this. You could run 100 miles and your feet won't hurt, whatever.
Right.
You have 4-hour work week. Yeah, you could work 4 hours a week and you could live like me. No, you can't. Get out of here, dude. That's one genius dude who molded that life for himself, and he gives off the expectations.
Branded it, worked hard, branded it, then sold it. I feel like
and made all his money doing that.
First off, I feel like I tried to master the 4-hour work week during COVID, during quarantine. I feel like that's what I did. I tried to master it, and you're right.
You're closer than me, man.
It gets old real fast. There's no 4-hour work week in my opinion.
No. I mean, maybe
but also, I mean, even comparing yourselves to people this day and age, whether it's that track star, whether it's this person with a house, this person at this job, it's so easy to compare yourself with other people. It's not keeping up with the Joneses; it's comparing yourself with the Joneses.
Dude, it's too much. I think people need to get outside the box a little bit. And so you just had Michael Renfro on this podcast not too long ago.
Yeah, I did. Great dude.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
Great. Yeah, of course I know him. We were almost best friends at some one point. We still hang out, which is wedding. Yeah, we're good friends. So I climbed Kilimanjaro with Micah, and what we noticed over there is you have people in a third world country. There's mud ditches with sewage in them. And they're happier, and we were laughing about it. They're happier over there than we are in mid-upper class in the USA, where we can have everything at our fingertips.
Just to clarify, you were laughing at how you were laughing at it was ironic that they were happier.
Yes, the irony.
Not that there was sewer water in their drinking water. You're just more laughing at the irony.
I was, Mike, in my mind.
Okay, well, we'll bring him back on the show to clarify that.
It was, but no, it puts it in perspective, Get out of your box. Go travel. Go to a third world country. Do it. See how much you have going for you before you start complaining. I think everyone needs to do it at least once. Because every time you want to sit back and you're like, over this little idiotic decision, you want to complain and be like, I don't get it. Dude, you can bring back that memory and say, I'm an idiot.
You know what, man? Like, I completely agree. And have you watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix?
Social Network?
No, Social Dilemma.
No.
It's very interesting. I'm not going to really get into it. I'm not going to ruin it for people that haven't watched it, but it's very interesting about how our phones and social media platforms and news agencies are really kind of catering us to stay on our phones and stay up with what they want to feed us and what advertisements come after that. And honestly, like I'll be laying in bed with my wife, and she's like, "Oh my God, did you hear about this?"
Bruh.
And I'm like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "Oh my God, we have to watch it. It's so disturbing." And I'm like, "I don't want to watch that." It's not that I want to remain ignorant about it, which I'm very aware that this is going on, but I don't want to. Why would I ruin my night? Or why would I ruin how I feel if I know it's gonna be bad? Hey, if what you're about to show me is gonna disturb me and make me pissed off, let me look at that. Hand it over. I want to take a look. No,
it's all about the clicks, bro.
But I'm fine about it. But look, I get social media. I think social media for its initial, what it's supposed to be used for, checking out friends, family members, promoting this, promoting that. But when it comes to, you can carry the baton with this conversation. But when it comes to I use it for, I feel like to show my family, show my friends, and highlight the company, highlight my daughter, my wife, my friends. But that being said, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole on my social media when I want it to make me, to look at family and friends, to see something that I know is going to upset me.
Dude.
I know it's going to ruin my night. I know I'm going to think, like, I'm going to have a little less respect in humanity. Why do I want to look at that?
Dude, you don't. If I ever go AWOL, I'm not going to kill anyone. I'm going to take people's cell phones and smash them.
All right. Okay, that sounds healthy.
Yeah, seriously, I'm just not really. Idealistically, I'd go without a cell phone. It'd be wonderful, but I can't do that. In a company, it's kind of tough, but I would love to go around cell phone smashing, man. It'd be great.
What pisses you off about cell phones?
Dude, everything. I mean, the addiction to it. Addiction pisses me off. Addiction to a lot of things. A lot of people get addicted to a lot of things. I mean, heck, I potentially was addicted to coffee at one point. I realized it.
Right.
So I.
I still think I am.
It might be. So hey, 5 shots, please.
So it's the addiction of the cell phones that kind of grinds your gears.
Addiction and where it's gone. I mean, technology's great. I'm not against technology. I'm against what technology becomes. In the picture of
Get me there. Let's go down this
iRobot.
hole.
Okay, the picture of a guy or girl sitting there with their body hooked up to an IV and they're being fed vitamins and all this other stuff, and they're just using their brain to think, and it's like literally a process where they're only like hooked to a computer, and I mean.
And so they're kind of having these avatar worlds.
Yeah. So I mean, you've seen it in movies, heard people talk about it. I mean, will it ever get that way? Probably not. But I'm saying, how close do you want to get? Like, how close do you want to get? Maybe you should put your cell phone down and go for a hike.
Are we? So do you think we're going to get to the point as a society, if we're actually at that point of when it's like a Black Mirror episode, where we're going to be like, wake up, be like, oh, what are we doing? Or is it going to be one of those things where we're going to be gone too far?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. I just don't like it. I'm a hater on social media. I'll tell you right now, when I caught myself involuntarily pressing on the Facebook app on my phone 4 years ago, I realized it was a problem.
Okay.
So I got rid of Facebook. Of course, my wife, who evens me out a little bit after our wedding, was like, you have to get on Facebook and like these pictures.
Well, I mean, you got some great pictures.
Yeah, there were some great, thank you.
With Arizona?
Yeah.
On the cliff?
Yeah, that was it, dude. That was sketchy.
Really?
Yeah, I had to talk my wife into that. That was, so literally 2 weeks before, a couple on a photo shoot of their wedding, they both fell off and died. No joke.
They took the plunge. That's not funny.
It's not, but you make it funny. You make a lot of things funny, JP.
Thank you.
So yeah. So I had to get on, and my old email address was like Ethan at Louisiana EDU.
EDU.
It took me like 30 minutes to figure out how to get back on. You kidding me? So I finally get back on, like a few pictures, and I just get off. I don't know if I've been on since. Oh yeah, we had a baby, obviously. So when we had a baby, she's once again was like, get back on Facebook, and nothing.
It's a beautiful 9-year-old daughter named Everly.
Yes,
Evelyn. Evelyn's my daughter, Everly. Yeah.
See, I'm following your footsteps.
Should be following my social media. So, look, I know there's a tangent, kind of like tangents. We can talk about the whole field non-small. What do you view the Q4 2021 happening?
It all ties in.
It all ties in, dude. Honestly, but the point is to get to know you and get to know Rants, and let's rant, dude. It's been a long week. Let's talk about this. So, I've actually, last week or a week and a half ago, I deleted Facebook from my phone. Just because it's election year, I'm sick of what I see. I don't care what side, what you're putting out, I'm sick of it. I mean, I want to see, babies. I want to see lake pictures, and that's kind of it. But so anyway, I got off my phone. It's a minor change. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a huge change for your mental well-being.
Platform for haters, man.
That's it. Haters. That's all it is.
And that's unfortunately what it's turned into. People with these expectations that they can't meet start dwindling on stupid stuff that doesn't matter, and they become addicted to the social media app, and they start posting stuff they shouldn't. No one's there to stop them.
Well, then it leads to depression. I mean, so it's like.
And right now, that's one of the worst things that's going on right now, because depression during COVID season, double whammy. Suicide rates must be up. I don't know. I didn't check Google on that one. Trust me.
And I may not be right with this, but I'm being serious. I may not be correct with this, but I heard suicide calls have gone up over 720%.
Dude, it's sad.
And not only that, it's like people with depression, you know, it's an isolated feeling, and it's like now we're telling you to stay home.
Yeah.
So I think the numbers of depression, you're right, I think it's kind of increasing and going up, and it's one of those things, and then you're comparing yourself with people in Greece and like these people taking trips with these infinity pools, you know, sipping on Mai Tais. You're like, oh shit, I'm not there. They're happier than I am. That just sinks you lower.
Oh my gosh, have you ever seen a hot chick sit there with her cell phone and how long it takes them to post a picture on Instagram?
Dude, my wife and I talk about, I'm like, babe, just post it.
Yeah,
Just post it. Yeah.
Dude, I love my wife to death. If she, I've gotten to this thing on pictures.
Yeah.
I'm taking one picture. I don't care if you frowned or my smile was messed up. I'm done.
What about blink shots?
I'm done. Good with blink
After
shot.
a blink shot?
Blink shot, done. I don't care what it looked like. I think it's funnier. I think it's funnier if you're not smiling and it's a picture that's caught where you're not focused on smiling being perfect.
Okay. Well,
Maybe it's my own gig, but I mean...
What else grinds your gears? I love this. Let's keep going down this hole. I like this.
That grinds my gears. I don't want to take 5 pictures. Have you ever been to Paris, man? Have you ever been to the Eiffel Tower?
Have I been to Paris? You talking about the place that the country I used to live in to pursue my master's?
Oh, there you go. So, you've been to the Eiffel Tower. How annoying is that?
Oh, dude, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah, people, yeah, I get it.
There's a line to take pictures, and everyone wants to take 50 pictures.
In front of the same way. I remember there was that one Influencers in the Wild with the wings on the wall, and there's like just like a line around the corner. These girls just want to do that with their pumpkin spice lattes.
Kidding me?
Yeah, yeah.
It's yeah, that grinds my gears. I don't know. We butt heads, me and my wife on that, but it's good. We sort of even it out. Maybe it's 2 pictures.
So mental health. I mean, like obviously we're not doctors here, and if anyone has any issues with any depression or mental health, please seek professional help.
100%.
100%. But so you think taking a step back and unplugging yourself from the social media platforms because it causes comparisons automatically, and because it causes all these different depression-inducing behaviors, that people kind of take a step back from that. Social media.
Some people can handle a lot. Some people can't handle bullying. I mean, say everyone's different.
Right.
Everyone's different, and you know, I'm not a doctor. I don't know about that. Start talking about norepinephrine levels and all that stuff.
I don't want to go down that road yet.
But some people don't handle stuff like that as well.
Right.
And ironically, those are the people that are enthralled with it so much. So why would you do that to yourself? I just don't understand. I don't want to get into psychology, but I mean, if you're a depressed person, do things that don't make you depressed. And you know, that's you can. Sometimes it's hard to get out of your own mind.
Right.
So if you're working a job and you don't like your job and it's a downturn, 90% of people don't like the job when the economy is not doing well. That's not just you; it's pretty much everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, so separate that business and personal life. Do some things on the side that if you grew up playing tennis, join a tennis league. If you grew up running, I mean, and that's what I want to touch on that subject later with the health stuff. We can do that after.
Okay. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, but I mean, do something that's going to make you happier. Call a friend. I mean, I'm sure people on this podcast, if you have real depression, call a friend.
Well, actually, that's a good point. Not just to the people. I mean, I'm not here to advise. Don't think I'm here to advise anyone with depression or anything like that, because that's a serious thing that affects a lot of people. We don't want to dive into that.
For sure.
But that being said, I remember I was talking to, it was probably May. I mean, I had a buddy call me, a thruster of mine called me. And he's like, "Hey, man, just kind of doing a wellness check." And I'm like, "Okay, what the hell's a wellness check?" And he's like, "I'm just calling people and just kind of want to talk to them for about 15, 20 minutes, just kind of just see what you're doing and kind of keep you engaged." And he kind of told me why he was doing that. I just thought that was a great idea, just to take that step to reach out to someone. And whether you're friends or not, whether they're just pick up the phone and call someone. You know,
yeah.
I mean, even if you're, I remember I was going through like a tough time. It's like, this sucks. My world is like this, now it's like this. It's flipped upside down. And I remember just kind of going outside, going on walks, and just picking up my phone and calling people. And that's kind of like, it kind of lifted me up a little bit. You know, I didn't feel like I was in the same boat anymore. I didn't feel like the troubles of the oil industry, of the world collapsing, were that important, because I'm talking to people. I'm not on social media.
It's an inevitable feeling. I think it hits introverts. You're not an introvert, obviously. I'm not either, but it hits introverts a lot more than it hit someone like me or you.
Right.
So I have friends that are introverts, and I made those calls too.
Yeah.
Specifically, pick them out. I was like, hey, let's chat, and I want to shake your friend's hand because that's a great thing to do.
Great idea. And I've heard a lot of people, and I've heard a lot of people doing something similar to that. I advise everyone. I know even things are kind of reopening in Texas, and kind of things are kind of getting back to normal. Not really, but kind of. But it's still probably pretty important to pick up that phone and call.
I walked into lunch today, not to break up another tangent. Walked into lunch today, and we go to Thai Spice in the Heights. It's a pretty nice.
Delicious place.
Yes, good for lunch. I went in there without a mask. It's like, okay, I want to go without a mask and see what happens.
Okay, you pushing the
Went in without a mask, and no one said anything, and sat down, had a meal, left, and man, I felt like 100% better. I'm like, maybe it's getting better.
Did you feel like a rebel?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
It was a good feeling, I can't wait till the day we put these masks aside.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying it's here right now. I just tested.
No, we're
the
definitely not there. Yeah, we're definitely not there.
No, not at all. So, we were talking about depression, and I think COVID has really caused a lot of that. So, COVID and the work environment. So
Caused or
yes.
Increased.
And I think that COVID is something. I don't want to touch too much on it. I'm not a doctor, but I will say advice. If I give any advice on this, I keep up once again personal and work life separate.
Bring it. Let's go.
You have to be healthy. You have to do something for yourself. You have to have a hobby. You have to have something besides work, because when you're in a downturn, work is not going to be positive. It's not going to. The environment around you, your coworkers, and you come to your office, who's getting laid off next?
And there's not a lot of work to do.
No.
I don't care if you're an operator. I don't care if you're a service side. Yeah, I mean, well, that's not true. We all have work to do. But seriously, like, there's really not a lot of work to do.
No.
So if you're focused on your satisfaction from work to carry you through your happiness in your home life, then you're in trouble, buddy.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
It's simple. I mean, you don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to have a gym membership. Buy some tennis shoes, running shoes. Go run. If all you do is a fourth of a mile, go run fourth of a mile. Go walk a mile and a half. Build it to where you can maybe run 2 miles.
Right.
If you're older, your knees, your hips are hurting you, get a bike. Get a Peloton. Get it. Go ride your mountain bike 2 miles outside. I mean, you could do it. If it's not that, go walk. I talked to one of our partners we work with, and he was in the same dilemma. He walks 5 miles every morning.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, listen, I wake up early. I don't start work till 9. I don't have to now. And he goes, I get up. I walk 5 miles every morning because he's getting depressed.
Man, I got to a certain point. Yeah, I mean, I was my wife and I were getting up. We were running like anywhere from like 4 to 7 miles.
Animal.
We weren't like that before, but it's like it was during quarantine. We're like, what else we have to do? And now it's like, then I started doing the walk and talks. I call them walk and talks, which is a kind of wellness walk. I was walking up to about 4.5 miles a day.
So your heart loves you.
But the thing is, though, I haven't maintained that. Because I'm used to working out in the gym. I'm used to doing that, and COVID has completely changed.
Crush it. You can get on YouTube. You can find 100,000 videos that are free to show you something you can do with your
Dude,
own body.
you can find anything on YouTube. You can find the #1 oil and gas rated podcast around the Rotary on YouTube if you want. I mean, you can do anything you want on YouTube.
I see that one. That's a good one.
It's a great one. It's a great one.
But no, as far as the health aspect, a lot of people they drown in their tears. Right now, what you need to do is pick your head up. You need to start grinding to get healthier, because what COVID is doing, it's killing people with underlying conditions,
Right.
whether that be obesity, whether that be an array of things
Right.
that you could prevent through as simple as walking 5 miles a day.
Yeah.
I'm not saying asking you to go out there and
Do 5 miles right now,
do
but I'm
5 miles.
saying,
If you can pick aside the expectations once again, stop it with expectations. If you don't work out, don't look at David Goggins and say, "Hey, this dude runs 100 miles in one day and eats donuts."
oh, I'm not there yet in 2
No,
weeks.
no, yeah. Bingo.
Go at your own
Start
pace.
small. Go at your own pace. Get it going. You don't have to compare yourself to anyone. Stop with expectations. Get your heart rate up. I have one of these, actually. These Apple Watches.
Yep.
I sometimes hate the fact that it's hooked to my cell phone and it vibrates. I'll smash it one day, too.
You're so angry. Such an angry millennial.
Oh God, that's awesome. But no, what I do is I say, and Rispy, Michael Rispy was
Yeah.
on your podcast
Yeah.
earlier. I'm tied to him.
Yeah, he was at the my wife and I's wedding, but not only that, he was
let's
at
pull him up real quick, see if he's done his daily activity.
Michael Rispy actually came to our 1-year anniversary dinner. It was my wife, him, and me.
Mike's only burnt 204 active calories today.
You can keep track of that.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about keeping up with the Joneses, and look at that. You're
Yeah.
comparing.
I taught him my friends, man.
Okay.
It's fun. It keeps you motivated, right? So I go over there. When I go over to the Midland, he's like, I call it the Rispy Mansion. We go over there, and he has a workout gym in his garage, and we hit it hard.
Of course he does.
It's fun.
Yeah, no, I
It's
mean,
stuff, man.
I think that's good. So you're very into getting outside, breaking a sweat, doing something for your physical health, because that's going to affect your mental health.
Bingo. That's it, man. And if it doesn't affect your mind, it gets you away for a little bit from yourself.
Right.
You know, from getting inside your own mind, get negative, like going through this vortex of negativity, you need some outlet away from that. And it's hard it's hard in an arena where you can't get out, you can't go to bars, you can't have a drink, you can't go hang out with a friend, go bowling.
Dude, you can't even go to, I mean, you're talking about going to Thai Spies. You can't even go to restaurants right now without being reminded of this threat that's been in our life since February or March. Like it's not the same. So even when you're out having fun with your family and friends, you're still kind of reminded about doom and gloom.
It's like a Halloween movie, man. It's
Yeah,
horrible.
it absolutely is.
Yeah, and I'm a social guy. Just like you, I like getting out, talking to people, meeting new people.
Yep.
I mean, heck, I moved around everywhere. I have to meet new men. Growing up, I had to make new friends everywhere I went, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I grew to like it. Sort of ingrained in my fiber, you know. So it's tough for me too. So I have to get outside of my head, man. Working out's one way. There's other hell. If you're a gamer, I am not a gamer. If that's what floats your boat,
Yeah,
dude, get into it.
dude. Yeah, I mean we are in our home.
There you go,
It's
man.
funny. I'll go home. Like, babe, what's up? She's like, hold on, I'm on this level of Witcher 3 or Skyrim. I'm like,
Go
"Yeah."
run a mile afterwards.
No, but what's cool is like my daughter. She's like, hey dad. She's 7. She's like, hey, can we play some Xbox? Like, absolutely.
Awesome.
Like it's cool. I mean, she's at that age. You'll be doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, dude! I got this stupid little golf game on my cell phone for COVID. Not even promoted. I don't know. I'm not going to say the name, but dude, at a point when there was not as much to do, I might have been spending 30 minutes an hour on this silly game.
And you're in front of your phone, advertisements, everything
Yeah.
like that. So wait, so mental health. So related to physical health. Get out there, break a sweat. Even the small things like making good choices at lunch.
Tied together.
Yeah, exactly.
Diet is serotonin levels. Once again, not jumping into. Don't want to jump into the doctor stuff because I'll be way over my head. But you know that healthy lifestyle and dieting properly is so good for you. You don't have to do it all the time. I personally, when I get on a diet, I'm lucky. You know, I burn calories pretty easy. So
What are you looking
my
at?
base metabolic rate is pretty high just naturally. So what I do is I'll diet from Monday through Thursday. Whatever on the rest of the
Okay.
time, I'm eating pizzas. I mean, I'm not a slob, right? I'm not going to see how many donuts I can eat one day.
See, I don't call it a diet. I call it a live it,
There you
because that's what it is.
I can't do
It's a live
it.
it.
It's good for you if you can do it. I can't, I'm very bad with diet. So if I notice myself getting off a bit, I'll force myself to go and do that for a month. Like Monday through Thursday, it's going to be strict now.
So how else can people, I guess, go about combating getting in a rut or taking care of themselves during these times?
That's one. You got to get outside your mind. You got to get your mind off work. Work in a downturn is not. It can't be healthy. You talk to all these people. Oh, my salary's cut 50%. Dude, once again, I'm back to expectations. You have to kill the expectations you had several years ago. You have to be dynamic with your expectations. If you have short-term goals, be dynamic with it. You didn't meet your goals. Who gives a crap?
Yeah.
Make some new ones and have fun with life.
Dude,
Enjoy yourself.
I remember when things got tough, and obviously things changed around here financially.
Uh-huh.
I remember I was like, it's kind of cool. Like this is our 1980s like crap. This is something that we're gonna be sitting around in 2040.
It is.
2040 sitting around like, remember the crash of 2020? My salary got cut to this. There was no rigs to give out. You know what I mean? Like, so it kind of motivated me that this is our story. Previous downturns really didn't affect me that much. Maybe minor, but this is like our story now. Like it's like How are you being creative? How are you adapting? And you're right. At the end of the day, man, as long as you got a roof over your head, your family, your health, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, I would hope that this shift in everything that's going on would help change people's perspective on what's really important.
Boom, shakalaka.
I would
You nailed
hope.
it.
I would hope.
You nailed it. You nailed it. I mean, you got to look at it that way.
So speaking of health and the no mask, pushing boundaries, getting out there, how are you like greeting people these days?
Oh boy. Oh boy. So this is not good, but I love hugs, man. I love hugging friends.
That's not. Why do you say that's not good?
Well, I mean, I'm also pretty good with rejection. I did that sales stint, right? If you're any salesman, can understand rejection. So I've been rejected a lot too, like pushed away, dapped sort of thing. So right now, close friends, I sort of like bring it in, still hug them, right?
Okay.
Even if it's awkward for them.
That is I'm a hugger too. All right. I think I want to start incorporating. I think I want to be a dabber from now on. And this is why. It has nothing to do with COVID, but I think I want to be a dabber. And the only reason is that first off, it looks cool.
Yeah.
Hip AF. Like dabbing is where it's at.
You look hard.
You look hard. You look like a little street to you, a little respect. But the second thing is, I'm a guy. All right. I am such a baby when I get sick. I don't care if it's the sniffles. I don't care if it's like a hangnail that's too hung. It's like I'm the biggest baby in the world, and I kind of feel like I want to dab just because I don't want to get sick. And it's not COVID. It's not a COVID fear. Like it's not. This is more of a like, okay, we can regroup. I want to be a dabber. Oh, that's okay. I don't know where your hands been. I'm overshaking. I'll dab.
I got another fear here too. I throw in the picture, and much respect on that. In the gym, I always dab people. I don't want to be hugging your sweaty ass in the gym.
So that's the thing. It's just like you're in a gym. You want to dab. You don't hug. Nah, I'm a dabber.
You get a big old ring on your finger, and that might hurt somebody.
Well, the thing is, though, I know myself. I am out of commission if I'm like 1% sick. If I have a runny nose, I'm calling the guys. I'm like, Terrell, Chris can't come into work today, boys. Like, so I think I'm going to transition from handshake to dabs.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that make you sick, man.
Well,
this health thing we're talking about, that kind of helps more than dabbing. You know, and also there's the idea of, okay, Christopher Columbus came over and gave the Indians measles. You know, they weren't subjected to that. If you're not subjected to the things, and you hide in a room for the whole COVID season, good luck, bro. When you come out, you're getting dosed.
You're getting sick.
You're getting sick, dude. And not just you getting sick, it's not like a cold. You're getting the flu, homie. Like, I mean, if you stay away from germs for that long, and you don't introduce yourself to them,
you're going to get sicker faster.
I mean, I feel like my immune system's up because that daughter's in daycare.
You're a hugger.
Snotty nose, I'm a hugger.
You're a test the boundaries of masking at tie spies. I get that.
I feel like it. Dude, I'll tell you what, I have much respect for people who don't want to do it. I completely understand. I mean, you know, older people and people with underlying conditions. I mean, I don't see my dad anymore. He has cancer, so I mean, I haven't seen him in 5 months. It kills me. But
Are you Zooming with him, FaceTime?
Oh, well, yeah, FaceTime all the time. He sees the daughter, we hang out. He's great. You know, he's doing well, really well with it. But, you know, unless I get checked for COVID, I mean, I'm going to go over there here pretty soon. I'm getting checked for COVID. My family is right before.
So you're taking the necessary precautions. You're not being blind and ignorant about like, oh.
So I'm not a jerk. I'm not a jerk. If someone wants to dab me, I'm not going to force a hug on them.
Yeah, you're going to respect their risk level.
And you don't know under underlying conditions. If it's someone new, I'm not giving you a hug. I'm not going to do that to you. But, you know, if you might have something, I don't know, some medical situation that puts you at high risk, no need for having contact with anyone.
That's the thing. You also got to respect that too.
100%.
I mean, everyone's got their own risk factor. Everyone's got their own stories behind the curtain, what's going on with them personally. So you got to kind of respect that.
Yep. Got to be a chameleon when it comes to that. Sort of understand everyone, and everyone's different. I mean, everyone has conditions you can't even think about. I mean, you don't even know about. So you have to understand that first and foremost, for sure. But I think health, and I think getting out there, and I think if you don't have those underlying conditions, my wife and my daughter both had COVID. For some weird reason, I quarantined with them, and the doctor was like, "You're 100% getting COVID." Never got it. Tested
Really?
midway and at the end. Yeah, someone
Like,
told
hey,
me
Doc, that's because I don't look at social media, doctor.
it's the 5G network.
That's because I climb Kilimanjaro, Doc.
Yeah. But I don't know why I didn't get it, but I did not get it, so it's very confusing. I'm gonna try and analyze this and like
Please don't.
About. Yeah,
No.
Real stupid.
Yeah. COVID's invented by. Yeah, let's not get into that.
Nope,
So,
not happening.
is there anything else grinding your gears that you want to bring up, or are we?
No, I think people need to stop looking at the negatives of COVID and start looking at the positives. I mean, if you have underlying conditions, I understand, but enjoy the time with your wife and family.
Right.
Enjoy the remote working.
Right.
If you can travel, take advantage of it. I just flew. I flew to Colorado and hiked Pikes Peak last weekend.
With COVID. No, but here's the deal. But you're exactly right.
Plane
though.
wasn't filled.
No, but you're exactly right though. It's like those places that you might have thought about going to, like my wife and I and Cole and his wife, we're going to Fredericksburg.
Uh-huh.
It's like those places like we've never been. Like there's all these drivable places you can go to if you don't want to get an airplane and go.
Dude, my golf game. It's gotten better.
Has it really?
Yeah, man, why not?
Where are you playing at?
Yeah, I got a club court membership. I used to be a member of Pine Forest with Mike over there,
I was a member over there.
Yeah. It's a good place.
Great place.
Yeah, I worked over there, so it was like right there, right now, a little too far. So.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm looking around right now. We'll see. We'll see if I find a place. Right now, Club Court, they have a bunch of different courses in Houston, and when I travel, they have one in Midland, they have Dallas, they have all.
If you can use them elsewhere, yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's a good deal. But yeah, go play some golf. Go pick up tennis. Go fishing.
Never marry a tennis player, though. Do you want to know why?
Tell me.
To them, love means nothing. A little tennis joke out there for y'all. Well, anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. We've been here for unless you get something. Do you have a message besides staying healthy, stay positive? What else?
Turn the frown upside down. Have a good day and make yourself.
Yeah.
You can
try to make yourself.
You could trick your mind into anything, even if everything's going awry. You could still focus on the positive.
Well, that's when you have the biggest self-doubt. When things are going so great for you, it's always something like, I'm having a great time. Things are going so good for me, but wait a minute. You shouldn't feel this way. It's gonna end, and you start having that self-doubt. So that's very true. So just kind of try to be optimistic and try to.
Go smash some cell phones.
Get out there, smash some cell phones.
Go
delete some Facebook.
Get rid of social media. Try it. No, I like LinkedIn and I like promoting business on that system. But when you get personal and you start weighing opinions that you don't need to be weighing, that's where I get lost. And I'm out.
I know. There's a couple people that have commented about the podcast, and I'm like, in my mind, it's like, oh, well, you defend yourself, and then it's like, they don't want to hear, they don't want to listen to the podcast. I'm not making them listen to it, so don't listen to it. It's not I don't care. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's their thing.
Yeah, they got their opinion. I don't that's fine.
Maybe that makes them happy to just destroy stuff if they want to.
Let them have their opinion. I don't care. Like if you want to listen to this, great. If not, no problem either. Like I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna do it.
My daughter's in the stage where anything I build, she destroys. Seriously. Okay.
They're not going to get out of that stage anyway. If anyone has any, by the way, y'all have been doing a great job on LinkedIn as well. The Royal Composites promoting. I guess y'all have done a lot of. You like my business voice now? Y'all have done a lot of.
I like it, man.
Promoting that y'all are actually getting out plugs to
sales guy.
Different companies. Sales guy 101. Father first, podcaster second, sales 3. All right, everyone. I want to thank Ethan Etzel, the CEO of Royal Composites, for coming by and kind of sharing his backstory and kind of what grinds his gears these days. But thanks for coming in. And if anyone has any questions or comments for Ethan or myself, reach us at roundtherotary at cap-petro.com. Again, that's roundtherotary at cap-petro.com. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Love you guys. Stay positive.
Stay positive.